perfect Valentine's Day date?
You know what? I don't know if it was the perfect one, but I have to say that yesterday was one of my favorite ones, which was going shooting. It was really
Solid.
fun. It was like a
What do you guys shoot?
my father's Smith and Wesson 40. It's Smith and Wesson M&P Shield Pro 40. It's nice. Uh, and then a Springfield 22 LR little hunting rifle.
That's the best thing to shoot.
It's
That
fun.
thing is so fun to shoot.
It's super accurate. It's like
A
it's
scope?
like
It feels like
no,
a toy.
no,
No
it's
scope?
just irons.
Iron sights?
Yeah, and but yeah, it feels like a toy. It's basically shoots like a pellet gun. Like I have shot pellet guns that have more recoil.
I've shot a 22 caliber.
Yeah, it's like beep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 40 is fun though, and it's heavy though. That's the thing, because it's a full size 40. It even has
But I
like
think
the Picatinny rails for you to put a laser or something on the front, but it's
the
big
weight
gun.
of it helps it not have
It's
more
much
kickback than it already
Definitely does.
So it needs to be heavy.
It
It's
definitely
not to be
smaller
handleable.
small ones we got, they'll usually go pow.
Mhm.
There's no control. There's control.
you have
If you watch the video of me shooting one of Jimmy's guns, it looks like it breaks my wrist. with the
it's
kickback.
probably the revolver, right?
Yeah.
That, but you know what I loved about that gun? It had a crazy kick, but it surprisingly that was my first time shooting a revolver. The handle was super comfortable. Like
Yeah, it was.
I really liked the way it felt in hand,
It
which was crazy because I never thought I would like those guns.
Yeah.
But until I shot it, it was nice.
So, since we're talking about it already, what do you guys think about open carry in Florida? It's being brought up. I haven't looked too much into it, but it is something that's being brought up.
So I've had a chance couple of times to be in a situation like that. A couple of times in Texas and a couple of times in Tennessee, where in a store people would just walk around with open carry and like it's nobody's
And when
business.
it's open carry state, you don't have to have a license either, right? You can just go buy a gun and then carry it around.
Correct.
So,
And
You
it
know
can
what
be
I-
open. It's not the whole concealed thing.
Nope.
You can just
when I
That's
was
the
in that
fuck around and find out law.
So in those situations, I found myself, I was the one that was staring more than anything because I was not used to it.
Yeah.
Everyone else was just like walking by, like, yeah, whatever. It's just another.
It's
day,
crazy.
you know?
I bet you could take if you take like people from Texas, right? It's an open carry state. I bet you could take them
Tennessee,
to
Texas, couple states.
like DR, and they'd see the military and be like, ah.
Yeah.
But then you take people from Florida into DR, and they see the military walk around with ARs and like big Benelli shotguns and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh my god,
Arthur experienced that the
oh,
first
babe,
time he
I
went.
want one of those.
So, see, that's actually funny that you say. Like, for example, like if you take a little more conservative countries, like let's say India or somewhere like that, or like Pakistan or any other Muslim countries, like when let's say you have two children, one of them has a Down syndrome or something like that, and they cannot take care of themselves, and parents are taking care of it, right? So once parents pass away, it's the other child's responsibility to take care of this one, right? It's literally responsibility and duty, like that's how it's viewed. But in the United States, you don't necessarily have that in general populace. I mean, they will go. It's more of a choice. It's more of an elective. People still do it, obviously, but it's more of a choice and elective to do that.
But I mean, in the U.S., if I might be wrong, mistaken if I'm wrong. Don't we have a lot of help for those kind of people, whether they have family or not?
We do have some help. The help is nowhere near of being actually like.
But
depends.
but I'm
There's
saying
something.
compared to some countries like India.
I mean, it depends on what type of help you're looking for. If the parents are taking care of the child fully, then the help is very minimal. But there is a lot of options to go into like homes or
Yeah.
different care situations where the parents wouldn't be responsible for the child's care anymore.
Do they necessarily
what I'm-
have that in places like India? Probably not.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is I think it's just what you're accustomed to and what you're accustomed to within your environment.
I was wondering where you're going with this.
Yeah. So
compared to
basically-
the gun thing.
Yeah.
yeah. So the same thing with open carry. Like if you're accustomed to
Yeah.
seeing that, you don't really care. But it just like I said myself, I was the one that was staring because I was not accustomed to that. So if everyone carried this in Florida, and if they do decide to do that, I can guarantee you, just like the masks during the virus, where like everybody's wearing masks, something noble and new, like you know how you see that on TV in China and other places. And then after a while, it just became a norm. Like right now, you still pass by in a store, people are still wearing masks, and you're just like, yeah, whatever. They're most likely either not vaccinated or they want to get something, right? But now it became normal, and all it took is about a year,
Yeah.
not even. So I think
I
if
I
that
I
does pass, it's gonna take about a year, and everybody's gonna be like, yeah, okay.
yeah. I do see what you're saying. It's definitely gonna normalize because if that's something that they pass and it's just a bill that is gonna be passed and people are gonna take advantage of it. You know,
Yeah.
not take advantage, but when it happens, they're gonna say, "Well, I agree with it, and I'm gonna start carrying my
I think
But
what's
now,
357 on my hip or whatever all the time."
I think what's gonna happen, like the biggest pushback you're gonna have from, let's say, establishments that are private establishments, and the owner does not believe in that and doesn't like that, they're gonna come in and reinforce it. I think that's where you're gonna have
For
this
sure.
issue.
When you were in those open carry states, did you see a lot more of those signs of like we do not allow guns?
Yes, there's signs everywhere. There are signs everywhere. We don't allow this and that. However, this was where I saw. I don't think I paid attention. This were in an actual like a supermarket that these people were carrying.
What would what would be your what would you be what do you think would be a first good like a good first step to gun reform?
I think number one is the number one. There has to be a better way of nomenclature. They have to be able to have, because we're 2023. There's AI. There are computers. Like there has to be a better way of nomenclature. There has to be a
What do
better
you mean
record
nomenclature?
system.
I'm
Record
stupid.
system. Like
Okay.
there has to be a better record system. Number one, like you have to be able to trace it from this person to another person. Number one. Number two, I think you should at the very least, have one or two um, easily accessible ways of somebody to sit down and have a conversation with you. With just a generic assessment. You know what I mean?
you mean like
Mental assessment,
mental
yes, and
stability?
it shouldn't be too expensive. It should be something, right? Let's say call it $50, $60.
Let me stop you there. What do you think?
I think I'm agreeing with you so far. I don't believe that open carry, as far as okay, we're open carry as of this date, and y'all can just go buy guns, is smart, because yes, if you put in a situation where like there's a shooting, so somebody who has a gun might be able to take out the shooter, but I feel like if they're not educated properly, they're gonna hurt more people rather than just taking out the
100%.
shooter.
And that's another thing. And then you have veterans, because there's a lot of money is going towards helping the veterans. There's obviously not enough of it. There's some money going there, and every veteran that I spoke with, they said, "Man, we go to VA, and it's just complete garbage," right? And you have to understand where the problem arises, right? That these veterans come in from a very structured environment, meaning uh, they get their you do this, you do that, it's very very structured, and then they're let out into the world where now you can do whatever you want, and they're like, wait a minute, the past minimum 4 years, right? I've been very very structured. Now like they don't know how to deal with it. So if you bring them into those type of jobs and kind of slowly re-educate them and bring them back into the society, the way the society works, I think that would help not only them but also people that are gonna teach. So I think that would be the third step
I
we should do.
think that's a great option for maybe younger veterans who have just did their 4 years and then left whatever military branch they were in. But I don't think that that's a way to make up for the VA.
No, no,
The
it's not
VA
a
needs to step up in general.
yeah,
Like the
no,
care for the veterans needs to step up
yeah,
completely. So
that's
I can't see them, I see it as two different things. The care from the VA and giving them jobs that giving those who would want a job, who are young, who are still productive members of society, let's say, or can be, a job compared to their medical care, their mental health care should be on a separate level.
no, no. I understand that. What I'm saying is because these people had a purpose. You know what I mean? They had a purpose when they were there. Now they're let out into the world and there's zero purpose, right? So they feel lost, they feel abandoned. So by you giving them a purpose, hey, listen, this is important. You're teaching the people that have no idea what they're doing. You have to teach them what's the proper way. So once you give them a purpose, I think that would change a lot of things for them as well, and then that'll help them reacclimate back into the society where they're going back into the structured environment of what they're used to. They have the purpose, they're teaching other people, they're helping other people, but at the same time, on their off time, they're actually reacclimating back into the society where they're getting used to the normal ways of doing things, you know. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
so
But
I think there are
how do
things
you
that could
implement
be
that?
done. But stroke of a pen, really, at the end of the day, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Like it would not take that much more time for you to do it. It's just like we have CC licenses. There's a bunch of people that do that, right?
Yeah.
There are thousands of CC places, right, that they do that. They already pay for it. Just tell them, listen, you're doing a CC license, great. We can because these people don't own their own places usually. It's more like they have to rent a space to do this. Hey, we'll subsidize X percentage of your rental fee. This person is gonna come in with you, and you run your course, and then they're gonna teach them on gun safety. But this is gonna have to be a whole thing together. It can't just be one thing. Because right now the CC classes are 2 hours and it's done. 2 hours and it's done. Right? Like,
I mean, but the CC classes have these requirements put in place by the government that they have to meet to be able to give this person a concealed carry. No,
yes,
they need to just add these more requirements in. Of
That's
well,
what I'm
you need to
saying.
have a psych eval. You need to have this, and this, and this needs to be like specific bullet points to give them. These things need to be covered in the classes. Da 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 da. Da.
but then you also have to remember, right? Like right
But
now, go ahead.
I think that 7 years, because it's 7 years between when you get it and you have your renewal, is too long for psych evals to be happening every 7 years.
That too. That too.
There needs to be an implement where you're once a year at least maintaining some type of psychological
You would say once a year?
maintenance.
Okay.
Even if it's just that part, like you don't have to worry about the other parts,
Okay.
the going through the
Okay.
classes, like you don't have to do that. But just
I was
at
thinking
least
every
the
like
psych-
maybe like 3 years.
at least the
was
psych eval needs, I think, about once a year, because
Okay.
a lot can change in 1 year. Person's mental stability.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, because these people are already renting these spaces, right, to do their CC classes. Pair them up with a social worker, pair them up with a veteran. All three people now going to the same place, right? It's kind of either subsidize it or say, listen, they're going to have to come in with you. This is the law, right, if you're not subsidizing it. And then just bring them all together into one
Yeah.
place. And that's it. It's over,
Yeah.
you know?
Drop a switch.